We should be live. And so today here, what we're going to do is we're going to continue the thing that we did yesterday. So yesterday, we added the multi-content into the GenAI library. And that was a cool ticket that came from Lomex. And basically, the GenAI, the crate GenAI, which is this one. I'm always doing this mistake here. So basically, there were a ticket here that come from Lomex, and that was a bug description over there. And basically, the API had either two calls or text, but sometimes the GenAI is going to send back us both. So what we want here is to make sure that we added this kind of two things inside the APIs, which we did. So that is a GenAI crate, which is on crate.io, and it supports all of the most of the major AI models. So that is what we have. So if we go back there, what we did yesterday was, hey, Mohamed. Hello. So today we're going to continue to do what we're doing tomorrow, what we did yesterday, and we're going to do it for the stream. So there's two ways of doing GenAI calls. One is request response, and one is with a stream, such as, we can write while the user is waiting. I'm not a big fan of that because it's a big waste of everything, but sometimes it's needed because you want the user to feel that things are happening. There might be some corner cases where it's useful to kind of end early, but those are like way in the weeds. So typically I like to have the normal request response, but some people like to have the stream. So I want to make sure that the GenAI support both. So that is the thing. So again, what we have here is we have the adapters, and then the adapters have the anthropic and everything. And this is where sometimes they have their own streamer, and the streamer can reuse another streamer. So there's two types of streamers, and we're going to see that. But what we did yesterday was that. So we went to the client here, the client response, which is, I think, under chat response. And what we did is that. Before it was option of messages, and now is a vector of messages, of content, of message content. So that is much better because sometimes it will reply again the tool calls and everything. And the message content is a text, a tool calls, or tool response when we are sending the response back. And then there's this multi-parts here, which I'm contemplating on collapsing, of removing content part. And the message content will be multi-part by the nature of it. And then we'll have the image, because the only thing that is missing here is in the chat message. In this type is image here. So if we have image, since everything is going to be a vector of message content now, that would be our multi-part. So I think that would be the good way here to approach that. And hello, Voidbite. So you guys are awesome. So today here, what we're going to do is we are going to, hey, Cody. Yeah, it's very niche content, but very cool content. And then I'm not sorry, actually, but we're going to blend it more with AI things because I have the AI pack and stuff, but AI coding for coders. So I'm trying to push this, embrace AI, but not as vibe coding. These things of these CEOs and big product managers that are all excited because they can code, they feel they can code an application with vibe coding. This is going to be, we're going to have some horror stories. So we real coders need to embrace AI and need to have the better story, I think. So that is all of the plan of this live stream in a way. So anyway, so let's go there. And so that is what we're going to do is this. So this is what I prepared for you today. And it's pretty cool. So again, it's talking to all the APIs. And now the way that stream works every time we want to have the stream. So if we look at the code here, we see that we're going to be happy. Chat response has this guy, content, vector of message content. This is what we did yesterday. It's good. But we have another type, which is a chat stream. So when we want to stream things, we want to get the content back. The chat stream should work pretty well to get tools calls and text calls, because it doesn't really stop either way. It kind of send a chunk all the time, and it's up to the user to do whatever they want. But there's something in chat stream which is no, it's not chat stream. It's chat stream response, I think. So that is a chat stream, but we should have a chat stream response. Let me see that. So we have an API where we can say, so we're going to go, thanks, here. We go to the client. We're going to collapse everything. And we're going to go, we have the exec chat, and then we have the chat stream response. Okay, good. I was confusing with the other internal implementation. So the chat stream response has a stream, such as you can, listen to the guy. Okay, now I'm back to this one, but we should have. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay, so the chat stream is you say, okay, I want a chat stream and I want to listen to everything. When you call the chat stream, you can say, well, I want to receive everything, but I don't want to keep track of everything. I want the API to say, capture the usage for me. I don't want to, try to find it in the chunk. Capture the content as well. I don't need to keep the content. So I want to get the messages, but I don't want to capture them. So I just want to print it, and then you tell me everything, and then I'm happy with it. So this is a pretty cool API, and someone added as well the tool calls. Big thanks. So I think usually I do that. I'm going to update it. I think it's a little bit outdated. But if I go to the thanks, yeah, it's Clancy Liu here. It's doing super cool PR. And it added a tool streaming support as well, because I didn't have it. That was a shortcoming of the API. So that was awesome. And so now we can capture this guy. Yeah. Yes. We can. I kind of agree with that. It's a long debate. One day I would love to do an AI and have live discussion with people. We'll do a MS Team and live, probably YouTube live. Once I get a little bit more user on my streams, I would love to have this kind of live discussions and even live it on Team. But I agree with that in a way, but the more that humanity use AI, the less able it will be to think for itself. I agree, yeah? And it's like Google Map. Yeah? Back in the days, me, when I was driving, when I was young, because I was young like everybody, then typically, I knew where to go. We had a map, and we were more aware of our surrounding and the driving direction because we didn't have a choice. Otherwise, we get lost every day. Now, even I am in San Francisco, sometimes I'm lazy. I'm just put home, and then it gives me the right one way, and I don't remember the one way. I don't have to remember the one way anyway. And so it's a little bit with the same thing with programming. Yes, we can turn off our brain on some of the stuff, and that's okay. I'm not a worse driver because I use Google Maps now. But at the same time, we need to use the AI the right way to not, as you say, stop thinking. So that is the thing. So I agree. It's the more we use some things that make us lazy to think, the less we think. Yeah, this is a fact. Yeah. Now the question is: do we have to think about everything to maximize the output value? And that is where it's a gray area here. It's what do we need to think and what we don't need to think, what we can delegate. Yeah. So that is a magic, I think. Yeah. But nobody has a truth here. We're all figured out. So the bottom line is, going back on this one, we have the stream end. And again, if you see the chat response, I'm going everywhere, sorry guys. If you go the chat response, yes, we have the content, which is a vector of message content. So that is what we have implemented. If we go to the chat stream, the last event will have this captured if we decided to capture it. But right now, it doesn't capture it is just capture one. I'm sorry, it's just capture one. It doesn't have the vec. This is all way of doing it. And then this one is good, but I decided to change it. We don't need option of vect of tool core because option and vect take the same size from a performance, from everything. The only reason why you would need an option of vect if you want in your API, if you need to make the distinction between empty array and absent array, which sometimes it's the case. Yeah, you don't want to. So if you need to make this distinction, then often is nice to do like that. Often in JSON, it's interesting. In JSON, I like to have the option damn it. I might have messed up. This is the reason why. I'm going to show you why. So yesterday, I'm going to say what I'm thinking here. In JSON, when I serialize and don't serialize, I don't always want to serialize the capture tool calls because it's fair to say that tool calls might be the exception in most of our AI calls. So the problem here is if I change that to vex, which is what I did over there. Did I do that over there? Oh no, because now it's part of the message content. Okay, so in chat response, the tool calls are part of the message content. They are here. And in my stream, we have it in two different guys. Yeah, we have the capture content, which is the message content, and that. Because that was a pull request that was done, which was good. Hey, learning Rust. But in fact, here, this needs to be moved there into capture content. There is no reason here to make an exception for chat stream to have a different way of storing tool calls. It should be there. And so we're going to do that in a way. Yes, we can do that. And then we'll add the same API. So that might be another commit here. I don't know. So right now we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And we're going to git log. That was my branch of yesterday. This guy. No, this guy. And I'm going to remove it because I merged it now. So GPO, this is there. And git branch. D, this guy, git SC, which now I'm creating the new branch. And I'm going to create it on, hey, learning Rust. I think I already say hi, but NX multi-content stream. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. The reason why I'm doing that is I don't always create a branch. NX means next. I don't always create a branch for things, but this kind of things is quite destructive in a way. So I'm creating it and then I collapse, I squash commits. So that's my way of doing it. So now the thing I'm going to do is I'm thinking I could do a vect here and then see how that goes. So it will kaboom everywhere. And I think that would be good. Now, there's something pretty cool here that I prepare for you guys. And in fact, for something I need. And I have the whole presentation like that, actually. I can step it through. So in HTTP RPC kind of styles, there's like four big type. The first one is what we call the unary type. It's this guy here, and that means that you send a request and you get a response. Yeah? So that is what we have in REST. That is what we have in JSON RPC, and that is what we have also in Google RPC, in gRPC. Then after you have the server streaming business, and this is what those guys are using for sending, when you type something, there's a stream come back to all of the little words here that the AI is generating. And so for that is you send one request, and then for that connection, the connection is kept open, and then it will send all of these kind of requests back. And so that is what SSE, server send event, is based on. You can pass the JSON RPC, obviously, there. And so all of these guys could be JSON RPC. So that could be a JSON RPC, which is actually what happened in MCP, yeah? And then those packet, those payload could be JSON RPC packet. And again, this is what is happening with MCP. So it's a JSON RPC and kind of a SSE kind of way. And over SSE, the payload of SSE is JSON RPC. And then you have Google RPC, obviously, that support that. Then you have the client streaming. So now we say, well, the server doesn't really need to respond, or perhaps at the end, but the goal is the client is going to send things all the time. And again, you can, this is a mistake. This is not SSE at all. And so we're going to fix that now. And you could use, you couldn't use really REST in a way, but you could use JSON RPC or gRPC. So that is the two ways of doing it. You can also have your own custom protocol, obviously, your custom payload format. And then we have the bidirectional, which is where I can send event and then I can get event back as well. And that is in HTTP2, you have this multiplex kind of things. Get a little bit complex because then you have to implement those frames and those business. And so that is what gRPC kind of supports pretty well. You could implement it in JSON RPC because all packets are made for that. And JSON RPC is protocol independent. So you could have this bidirectional stuff, but then you will have to build the whole, multi-packet and all this kind of things, so multi-frames or whatever it is, to implement this. So usually you don't really have an implementation on that. If you really want to have the bidirectional, this is where JSON RPC might be good. There might be other ways, but that is a good way. What the AI, all the AI providers are using is this one. So you send a request with your prompt, and then when you ask for streaming, not all the time, they will send you all of these packets, like that. Now, the trick is when you go to underneath here and you talk to them, which is what GenAI does, so it's pretty cool. It goes on the protocol for all of these guys. Some protocol say, okay, I'm going to use SSE, and actually I'm going to look at this guy here. We are going to respect, this is kind of a semi-spec, or I guess is a spec now, it's a standard now, which is the event stream. And so the event stream has these things to say, well, I'm going to give you 3 lines, where ID is optional, event is optional, the default is message, I think, and then the data is a payload. So usually people put a JSON, a one-line JSON in the data. And then the convention is everything is a new line here. So new line, and then to go to the other packet, to the other payload, it's an empty line. So that is the protocol of text event. The Rust crate that I'm using, which is a common one, so right now, it's the Rust crate I'm using is supporting, but when I look at the code, it looks like it expects the 3 of them, which I guess everybody's sending, but so ID and event is not option in the API, which is a little bit worrisome, but it works very well so far. So I'm using that when I am in a text event, guys. And then there's kind of custom mode here where people are saying, well, we don't want to use that because ID and event is not really the things. The only thing we care is a payload. So many of them go this way, where they send like a new line JSON. Every line is a JSON. Now, Gemini, the Google guys decided to say, no, we don't want that for streaming. We don't want that. What we want is valid JSON, which is a little bit crazy, but GenAI supports it, is they generate actually an array. And then they actually generate something like that. And by the way, they don't always, give you that as a first body, and then it's a little bit sport to read it. And so it's kind of it's a valid JSON that is never valid, because every time that is valid at the end if you concatenate everything. But as you get it, it's never going to be valid. Yeah, it's always going to be this kind of things. And then sometime I think the comma is part of the previous or the next one. It's get a little bit finicky. So I implemented that here to make sure that we can support the native protocol of Google. Now, I wish, and I would love to be in the meeting, because there was always good reason. Yeah, I'm sure the developer didn't do it. Oops, sorry, I need to. It's funny. It's on the on my other side. I'm sure that the Google engineer did it for a very good reason. Of these things of say, hey, we're going to stream, but every payload will be invalid JSON in a way, but the concatenation of all of the payload will be a valid JSON. So that is kind of interesting as an approach. So I'm sure that they have one, but we're supporting it natively. So basically, we have these two ways here of doing that. And what I've done in the Rust web app, in the GenAI, is that for when it's server-side event, I'm using that guy, which is event source stream. So that will give me, the stream of the standard stream. And then I have my own wrapper stream on top of that, such as I can abstract it, such as all my adapters. Doesn't have to be too smart about what is those events, and just get the payload, because the ID and the rest is useless. So I have this kind of thing here which allows me to do. So we have the enter stream, and that is where I normalize a little bit all of the events the way I want it, and not per provider. And so then each provider, for example, I think Anthropic use this protocol. And I think we can see it, chat inner event source. If we do that like that, we should see it, event source, yeah? So that is my event source, and that is the event source of request event source, which is these guys that I'm calling, yeah? Which is request event source, is this guy. Yes, I'm using that. And then this one use this one, and I needed this one for the type, I think, or something like that. But I could use just this one. For agentic, if we go to the agentic crate, so that is my agentic crate, and it's the same thing, because MCP use SSC. And so what I'm implementing in agentic, I just use event source stream. So this one is a good one to go with. I don't know why I locked it. Usually I locked when it's kind of young crate. So is it a young crate, this one? Even mine. So if I go there, and I do this. No, this one is a big one. I'm not sure why I locked it there. In Rust agentic, I might remove the lock here. And so this one is actually pretty nice. It's low level and things. In GenAI, I started to use that guy, but that guy doesn't allow you to control it. It takes over the content type. So here it works, but sometime for agentic, I'm going deep here. For the agentic, the MCP, you have to control your content type, and you cannot give the default content type. And so I didn't use that in agentic because it was not flexible enough. And this one is actually pretty nice. It's high level enough to do that. But anyway, I'm using that there, and this is working nice. And then I have my own stream business, which is on my webc, should be there. And that is where I have for Google and for Cohere, for the ones that are not server-side event, this kind of format, I have done my own. So, and then I support these two weirdo mode, which is one, which is a delimiter. So I say, hey, give me your delimiter, and then I will use that. You see, I will say, okay, this is the things that will be in at the end of each one. So it could be 2 lines or 1 line or whatever, I don't really care. That would be the markers that will say, this is the next payload. And then I have this crazy one, which is pretty JSON array, but it could be crazy JSON array because it's not pretty from a streaming standpoint. And so this is where I have this mode now, because I didn't want to have multiple streams for everything, where I'm getting the stuff and I'm normalizing them. Yeah? So again, all of my adapter doesn't have to know about these little details. They will get it from here. Yeah, so they will get the chunks, the strings, the reasoning, and the tool called chunk. Yeah. And then the end, stream end. So that is the thing. And then it normalizes it to events, public events that I'm giving. So hopefully that makes sense, kind of pretty deep, but this is the thing. One thing that I might put in my stream kind of things is beginner, intermediate, advanced kind of things, such as people can see how hard each live is. That might be a good idea. Let me know if you like that idea. So bottom line is all of this to say that now we're going to go to our chat stream response. And this is the end guy. So we go to chat, response, stream, chat stream. And that is at the end. So at the end, we're saying, hey, here's the thing that has been captured. This is not by default. Yeah? By default, they are actually not asked. So actually on this one, I'm going to do a vect. I'm going to do an option of vect. Okay. And the reason is, and that is important because I want to have the distinction, because in the API, in the config, you say, hey, I want to stream, but I want you to capture the content. But if you say I don't capture the content, it won't capture the content. But now I want to make sure that in the stream end, you can make a difference between where the thing didn't ask to capture the content, so it's known, or the thing captures the content, but it just happened that content was known. Yeah, so I want to have this distinction over there. That is important. And then this one will work kind of pretty good. So now, once we do that, we press save, and it will do a kaboom, which is what we want. And then we have the capture content here, which is inner end, capture content, message from. Okay, that's fair enough. So what's happening here is that I have the inter-stream end, which is my internal things that I normalize with everybody. And here I'm going to do a capture content, and then I map it to a from because I want to put the thing there. So I don't want to change the type here. What I want is go back to my inner content. And then this one should be a vect. And in fact, it's pretty cool here because, and this is why it's good when you design your API, you create. Sometime, here I have a lot of adapters. I don't want my adapters, all of this logic, to have to worry about the difference between SSE, the Google way, and everything. That would be like, the whole thing will explode, yeah? So I'm trying to normalize what I can normalize. And the adapter knows the difference, the nuance here, but from a stream standpoint, I wanted to normalize because stream can get pretty hairy with, polling and all these kind of things. So this is why I normalize it like that. And then the adapter, once he knows which stream he wants to register to, whatever stream it registers, he will get these events. Yeah? those events, which is streamers, and then there's, other guy. So that is the inner streamer. So that is where we want to have the vect. Now, this is a way. And now, here again, the thing I was saying is because I have this direction, I don't have to change the adapter implementation. The only thing I have to change is that streamer, where I have the streamer logic of the thing. And that is what I wanted. Yeah. So now I go back here. So I have this guy. And now, well, that's not nice. I know why it's not nice. So that is a vector string. And I'm going to fix, this shouldn't fail here, but it fails because I have a from that is missing. And where did I get the from of this guy? So do I have it here? From enter stream, okay. Okay, no, this is not that. I'm going to go back there. Okay, there's a message content from. No, but that doesn't work. It's not what I want. Actually, I need to change. Okay, interest thing. Capture content. And if there is, that is the wrong one here. So I need to iterate. There's no other way. So if I do a map here, the value is a vector of string. Yeah, there's no other way. Yeah. So what I need to do, I'm going to put that like this. I put this such as I make sure that it doesn't collapse. And then what I want to do is, if there is a vector of things, I want to have a vector now of stream, and it's a vector of message content. So I'm going to do a v.iter, or into iter. And for each of the element, which I think I should be able to do a map here, we're going to do item, just to delineate it, and then we're going to do that message content from item. And we're going to simplify it later. And why does it complain? Complain because of something. Oh yeah, that's fair. And then we need to collect. Will it be smart enough or no? Yeah. Wow. Okay, so the reason why you collect is that returns the iterator, and here I collect. And because he knows that this guy expects an option of, doesn't show it here, but an option of vector of content message, he knows how to collect it into a vector. So that is why it works. So that works pretty well. Now I press save. Here I could actually just do something like that. I don't need to have the closure. I can pass a function. And then that's it. That's pretty good. Yeah, that works. So this one works pretty nicely. And now I need to fix the adapter. So now I have the same thing. I do the git log. I did the clippy clean this morning. I'm going to go git c, and I'm going to commit on the, what I'm going to do, I'm going to commit on the, go to the plus, and I'm going to say multi-content stream. I like to have like a word that say a little bit the category, add multi-content support. Yeah, that will be enough. And then I'm going to amend them or do that, and I would collapse everything to that. So that is a little bit the goal here. Now I'm going to go to that guy. And this is the content that we have. And it's funny, yeah? Because now the capture content, that is data capture content, but we already, so capture data content. We're going to go there. And the question is, we're going to go and see who is calling that. And my question here, which adapter are we working on? We're going to work on, start on Anthropic. Okay. So some, and then I push the str, and every time I have a delta. Okay, so that is, yeah. So that is interesting because now we're going to get the delta text, but we're not going to know if it's another part, but that's fine. So we're going to capture content. Interesting. So here's the thing that I'm thinking. So here, what we could do, in a way, there's nothing else we could do. We could try to like say, well, we're going to capture, we cannot capture the different of messages, yeah, if there's different content message. This is not something that we can actually capture. Because sometimes, for example, I think, I'm not sure, but if you ask with message, you might interlace content, tool calls, and content to have this like interlace kind of full conversation where it will give examples. I don't think it will, but for images, it will be nice, yeah? It's the same way that the whole difference between Jira and GitHub, where in Jira, you put all the images at the bottom, and back in the days, yeah? And in GitHub, because there's just where Markdown, we could interlace it. And with text, image. And that was much nicer on the read because then you don't have to say first image and everything. So today, I don't know if AI is really doing that in a way, but if you wanted to have this, you will need to say, well, that was a text, but the text of that message, and then the next one might be another content type, yeah, another message content, which might be tools or images or whatever. Right now here, that I don't even think that Anthropic support that. So it will always go back to the content in a way. Yeah, it's always go back to the content. There's no reason here to do the stuff. So the streamer here, we do not want to create a message content for each one of those guys, of this delta text. That's not the way the message content is for. And so right now we're just concatenating them. And then we're putting everything into a capture content, which I think is okay. So we're going to, so that is this one. So here we're on the Anthropic streamer, and we're going to add a node here. Node. Oh, okay. We're going to have node here. Okay, interesting. So what I did here, which is good, is we have the capture data, which is for streamer, but then the streamer capture data is for everybody. So everybody is here. And the reason why is support here. So my best practice is support is always utilities, and you need utilities that are useful for any modules that are below, at or below the level of support. So mod.rs or whatever in parallel of here can use those guys. So the parent can use those guys, and which is mod.rs in this case. And then everybody below the parent can use these guys. So support is always for that. And then I can have different support. Yeah. So I might have chat, and sometimes I have other support guys. Here's a bad example. But sometimes I have different support in other modules. Yeah. And then, so here, for example, yeah, so this one is for all the adapters. And then I might have a support as a root. Yeah, I have a support as a root. So this one is a support for everybody, obviously. And then I can have support at the module. So that is the way I like. So like this, when I see the thing, I know that that is not public, it's not re-exported, and it's only visible to the children. So I like that a lot. So now, because we are here on these guys, we know that this type is for everybody there. Yeah. So what my question now in my head is like, well, okay, if we go to the streamer, so we're going to actually pin this guy too. And if we are saying we're string capture data, okay, so that is when the user say, I want to capture the data. We have only one content for everybody. This is what is happening. And that is what is complaining over there, because you say, hey, you're trying to put a content here, but the captured data content is what? It's an option of string. And then this guy in inner string, we say that it was a vector of string. Okay, so now it's like saying, well, you know, it doesn't really support it. So here's a trick. If I really wanted to make it the same as my chat response, I will do a thing like I will do capture content without that. That is a good question here. Because in fact, I don't want that. I'm back there. I'm back there because I can either yeah, I'm back there. And in fact, what I want is a chat stream here, which is a capture content. The right way of doing it. So that is where it should be. It's much simpler than what I thought. Because we can say that everybody is going to capture it one way because they don't allow to interlace. So we capture all the contents, and then we capture all of the tool calls. So it's fine that our internal are like that in a way. But then after, when we want to give the APIs, we can see to the API to say, hey, we want to have everything, the capture content will be in a vector of things like that. That is interesting. That might be an interesting live here, because I might say, well, you know, do we want to do that or not? So here's the thing that goes back to my mind is the things that I don't like with this API this way. And again, the one that did the perfect thing here. But the things that I don't like here is that it's the asymmetry that we have with our chat response. Chat response, I have the tool calls within my content. That is what I have. And here, in this guy, I split them out. That is what I don't like. I don't like it because I split them out, and over there I did not split them out. So now it's more convenient in the API because you can extract the things, but in the streamer over there, in the chat response, we have convenient method here, which is first text, and text and all these kind of things. So that is a nice kind of set of APIs that allows you to say, hey, I want all the tool calls of these guys, or I want all the images later. We'll do that, images and all these kind of things. So in many ways here, this is a pattern that I like a lot, to have this content and then these APIs. And so right now we say, well, when you are on Interstream, the chat stream, the public API, the Interstream, we don't care. Yeah, so that is the thing that I missed. Yeah? The Interstream, we don't care. But this, I'm going to come back to your question here, Dazisto Banda. But here's the thing I think that we're going to do today, since we're already there. We probably are going to change this API into captured content, and content will have the option of vect of messages, which will include this guy. I think that that is the right way of doing it. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to do a content of things, and then we're going to comment this one out. Not. And then the thing I'm going to do is we're going to do a trait. Yep. Which will implement the infer, all of the cool method that we have in chat response. First text into first text, all the text into text, and then we'll do tool calls into cool tool calls, and we'll have images and everything. So like this is clean, yes, because I can do a chat response, I have everything, and then the trait won't be the same because it will be an option, but here is option, so it's pretty good actually. We always have an option here. So that is good. So that could work pretty nicely. So we'll do a trait here, and then we'll be able to implement the trait on this one. So question, hello Jamie, this is kind of a weird question. Do you, GenAI, work with PI network? I saw something, but I didn't have time to read it. PI network? I don't even know what is that. What is that? The PI network? Let me see that. PI network AI. Oh, PI network. Blockchain. Live pie charts. No, I don't think. No, we don't do stuff there. No, I think it's a blockchain stuff. I don't do. I'm not. Some people ask me to do blockchain tutorial and stuff. I'm not a blockchain expert. So my channel and stuff is more about my core expertise. I did some game development early on just to learn the baby because it was a cute stuff, but I'm not a game developer. So I'm trying to stick where I add the more value. Blockchain is not a thing where I'm an expert, so I'm sure people can be better there. So it does look to be a blockchain thing. So one thing, so the strategy here is going to change a little bit. So now this one will be so the public API will be a message content over there. And then I'm going to do a note here, and we can do a since 0.4.0, 0.4.0, and this will have the tool calls as well. Okay. And then we're deprecating this guy. And right now I say deprecating as of 0.4.0. Okay. And that is one thing I don't like about the Clippy, they stuff. So the thing is, so my problem here, I'm going to have to ping the developers that did that because he did a very good work. And we're not removing the work, we're just changing the API. So one thing I'm going to do is, because 0.4 has quite a bit of API change, I'm going to push an alpha or a beta of it, or an RC, such as people can warm up to it progressively, and then eventually we'll release it. So that will be the goal here. But this is a capture. This is probably not a lot of users right now, so it might be okay. So Now, what we're going to do again is in the stream before we only have the capture message content, which was option of message content, which only have the text. And then we have the capture tool calls, which has the eventual tool calls. To have the symmetry, so that is for the stream, when we ask the stream to capture it. Because otherwise we get the event, but nothing is captured. If we, and we are doing that because we want to have the symmetry with the request response type here, which is we have all the content type. And the message content will have message content, text, images, right now it's multi-part, and then tool calls and tool response. Now, the multi-part, I don't want to go too deep, that is might be where the AI might be able to mix text and messages to have this nice text layout in a way. So that will be the way here to do that. So that's why now I'm saying, perhaps I'm not going to remove that, because if the AI wanted to give me a document with images in line with text, that will be the way to do it in a way. Yeah, but it's tricky. And I think we wouldn't be able, could we do like a nested? I don't think that will work in... Oh yeah, that works. That's fine. Another way will be to have a nested kind of things. But that is tricky. The thing I don't like here is the content part has text again. But it might be nice. Anyway, so we have the content, we have the chat stream, we're going to put all of the content over there. That is going to be the goal. Now, the cool thing about that is going to be much simpler than we think. The point here is we already have all of the stream and they were capturing the thing there. So all of my stream are using actually the enter stream, this guy. So here the only thing that we're changing is not how things get captured, but how things get exposed. Yeah? So the fact that everybody is capturing like that is completely fine. In fact, just to make sure that we get confused about the thing, we say text content. Okay? This is what we're doing. We're capturing the text content because we're not trying to be smart. We see text, we put it there. And then we have captured tool contents. And so in a way, our interstream, which is our internal stream ends or whatever, this is the types that it has. Now, what we want to expose to the world is something which is symmetric between our chat stream and our chat response. So that is the right way of doing it on these first kind of things. And then if we want to get fancier, we can go and change more. So I like to usually kind of phase out the things. So we're going to do that. And now it's going to be super simple because the only thing that I need is capture content. So now there's no more capture tools calls. And now we're going to build on this guy. Yeah? We are going to take, let capture content, capture text content, if we want it to be things. So we're going to take this guy, okay? And then we're going to take the captured tool calls. Then we can make the code nicer, but right now I'm just doing that and capture tool calls. So that will be option of vector to call and option of string. That makes complete sense. And now what I want is to create my new capture content. So I'm going to say create public capture content. Okay. I'm going to return type, return result. Okay, I like to have the dash dash as a next level down comment. So I have this one, which is a big one. Then I have the dash like that, and then the normal comment like that. That's my hierarchy of comments. And then, so I press save here for the formatting. And now I want to do a let sorry, being slow here. I want to do, so here's the things that I'm thinking about is I want the stream content to only be there because it's an option. Yes, my capture content should be an option. Yeah. So I want the thing to be there only if both are not known. And so I'm trying to find a way. Well, that's fine. Well, we're going to do the ugly way for now. If, because the match after, I'm not sure. Yeah, if, oh, what way I do the Java way? This one, we don't have to be that ugly. Is sum and that is sum. So now we know that we have one or the two. So we're going to lose the information. So every time I'm coding, I'm always thinking about what information are we losing on everything. What we're losing here, which might not be a big deal, but we need to know what we lose. Yeah. What I'm losing right now is I'm losing the fact that one could be not known and then the other one known, and we won't know which one is not known. Yeah. That's one issue, but that's fine. And so this is all, sorry for the one that spotted that. And then we are going to say, if that is not known, we are going to have, I'm going to do a let captured content. And that is going to be an option. I'm going to put the type here, vect of message content. That is what we have there. And then in this case, we have else none. And yes, the code is ugly right now, but I don't care about beautiful code. I care about making sure that my brain, I get the logic right. And then I might make it nicer later. So I do, if any of this is good, I do that. And now I'm going to say, I'm sorry here. Yeah, yes, I wouldn't do it like that. I will do it, sorry. That equal none. This is what I will do. This is much better. And then we do a if less, let. Yeah, that is much. So we're going to put mute, obviously. That is going to be nicer to write. The logic will be simpler to write, and it will be, I think, nicer code. So we do that, we do that. And now we have our capture content over there, correct? Yes. And what we're going to do is capture content. Can Copilot? No, well, okay. I'm going to say I don't like the symmetry here, but that's fine. So I do the stuff. This is a good one. It's actually pretty good. And we do a if let sum. We're going to see if Copilot is good on this one. Sum, and then, so again, I use AI a lot, but all of these decision choice here, and right now, product managers, CEOs, and everything are super excited because they say, hey, we don't need developers anymore. We just have the requirement and we code it and everything is good. All of these kind of decisions that I made, like when I came in the stream, I thought I was going to change everything and stuff, but then I realized that in Anthropic, when we get the message text, we have no clue. Yeah, the delta text or whatever it is. We have no clue of saying, here, we take the delta text. We don't know if it's another message content or not. And we're not going to create a new message content for each one. That's not the way it should work. So here, I couldn't do it anyway. So then I say, well, okay, all of these guys work well right now. I'm going to keep them as those, and I'm just going to change the public APIs. Yeah. Which is good for consistency here, and then we'll move them around. So now this one, I don't want to do the same one So it did that, which is okay. I think there will be a more elegant way of doing it, but I think it's okay. I think there will be... No, that's fine. It's fine. So create the public capture content, and now I'm going to put that there. Boom, compiles. Now my example here, tool streamings, awesome. Capture tools. I'm going to say, hey, that was not nice, which is true. So I'm not going to do the trait right now. I don't know if it's a good idea to do the trait actually. And I'm going to say, well, what about doing a capture tool calls? And it will return exactly the same thing as that. So that will be pretty nice, yeah, because then it wouldn't change too much. So again, this commit here, this change was made by that person, I think, and it was awesome. This is very high quality things because it added a new C10 tool use, and now we see that so that is awesome code. That was an awesome PR. So now I get this, and so I go back there. This is my inter. We don't care about this. And then I'm going to make sure here that I'm going to explain since this requires chat option to capture content flag, capture tool calls. That is 2 flags to be set, and since this will have the tool call as well. Call captured tool calls or captured text or captured first text. Oh, we're going to do that. So we're going to mimic the one that we have there. And then it will go to call as well. Symmetry with the chat response. That's not the way to call symmetry. Okay. Congrats, BotByte. I don't call you X because otherwise people are going to that thinks that I'm talking to a grok or something. Staff as well for symmetry. I don't even know how to spell symmetry. It's so sad. Yeah. Thank you, Google. So that is for API, for interface symmetry. Okay, so that is pretty cool. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do implement. I'm going to have my implement. I'm going to say getters. Implement. This is going to be nice. It's actually, I like it a lot. So that was, oh yeah, because I have a lot of types over here, yeah. And then I'm going to implement. I'm trying to not go too fast here. Implement things, and I'm going to implement that guy. Yeah, we want to implement pub fn, capture things. We're going to do self. And so when we do a capture tool calls, we are going to respond. And the question here is vect or option of vect. And we're going to do an option of vect. because we don't want to lose the information, even if we are losing a little bit if they were or not, but we want to keep this guy. So there's no performance issue. Actually, there's more, it takes a little bit more space, almost nothing, obviously. But it has the information is whether a capture things or not. And we are going to do a capture, and that will be tool calls, a vector of tool calls, of reference of tool calls. That is what we want because that is what we have in our chat response. Which will have this, correct? Yeah. So I think we can do a little bit better call than that. This one was okay. So we're going to do a self. So we could do that, and then we do a self captured content. Oh, that's funny. Why does it get confused here? Oh, streamer, sorry. That's the streamer, otherwise we were on the enter stream. I took the wrong type. So it's captured content, this guy. So now we have the capture content, and we're going to do save on this one. And we're going to return okay, that's fair enough. Well, we're going to return that. I'm just going to make the code work right now. Compares, capture content. I'm not happy with that, but we're going to understand. And then message content, and if let okay, what does it complain here? Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Oh, okay, well, we can do that. Look at that. Captured content. I rarely do that for option, but this works nice. Yeah, because it's an option. So when you return an option, you can do, this one is an option, so we can do question mark. This is actually nice. So now we have the capture content, and then here, we probably we don't want to take it. We want to do as ref. I think so. That will create a new one and will give us a ref of the vector because we don't want to take it. Yeah, we're on the thing. And that will allow us to do this, which is now we have a reference of message content, which we are happy with. And then we're saying, hey, if this is a content, you add it. We collect it. Oh, yeah, we collect it into a reference, a vector of reference content, and then we extend the one that we have over there because we could have multiple kind of things. There's a way here that we could avoid the extra allocation, I think, but right now it's fine. So we could do yeah, it's a little bit silly to do like that. We're trying too much to use function. So we could do a for tool call tool calls. So we'll say for tool call in tool calls, and then I will do. I think that will be okay. There's a more elegant way of doing it, but that's fine. So that would be nice. Now, one thing, and it's cool because if there's no capture content, we're going to return none. So this is actually pretty nice. So that is cool. Now, if we want to have also the capture into calls, we're going to do that. That is a nice one-to-one, just to have the symmetry with the other guy. And that, we don't want the href anymore, so we're going to take consuming, so that will return a vector of things, that will be a vector of tool calls, and that should work as is. Boom, we have it, I think. Yeah, so that is pretty nice. We have an error here somewhere. We're going to do F8. Yep, makes sense. So that is the two guys that we have. And for symmetry, and again, usually I lack symmetry because when I do my symmetry of the APIs, it allows me to validate that I've done the right API. It's another validation. It's not all the time. It's not everything doesn't have to be symmetric. So for example, here, I'm not doing the trait. I decided for now to say, hey, let's have captured things because it's not really, it hasn't been captured or not in a way. So that is what I want to keep. So now what we want is to have those guys, yeah, the into text and the text and the first text and stuff. We're going to do that. And the first text will be often useful. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to put it there. And I'm going to have captured first text. In fact, I like a lot that pattern that we have over there, because since it's an option, we can do something like that. So when it's a reference, we're going to do like that. And then I think we do that. Captured content, content item. And this one should be relatively happy. Okay. Oh, no, sorry. Okay. So now I have a vector of a message, and then this one is returning happy kid. Capture first text will return the first text of the thing. I will add comment eventually. Right now, it's probably, yeah, I should add more comment. But I will use AI to add the comment. I don't want to add it by hand. The comment is simple enough. The AI can look at the code. You know, we have to use AI as much as we can. So, and I can show actually how I'm going to add that. And then I have the capture content here. I do that. And then that's it. So, and I return early. This is why I have these kind of things captured into first text, captured text. We're going to do the same business as that. And it's funny because there will be an argument of saying, I'm going to put it option here. There would be an argument to say, well, I don't want that we could, since we know we are capturing only one of those could be, the capture content could be private and then having this function. So that would be fine, but then, you know, might not be. As ref. And I think that sum, okay. That should be good. Hey, Lumix, we are finishing your things here. We're adding it to the stream. And in fact, in the stream, I don't think there were anything to add anymore because he was already capturing both in a way. So if you look at the stream type, you have the chat stream response, and then you can get the events. And the design is you get your data in the event, which is the chat stream end. So that is where we get the capture content, and before we have capture tools. So actually Stream already had both, but now I'm normalizing everything to have the message content, such as there's no two different ways of doing if it's a chat response or not. Everything will be so in this case we want option in case it's not captured. And then we have a vector of message content, and the message content could be tool calls or not. And so now what we are doing is we are actually implementing. So the only thing that we had to do is a from to create the capture content like we wanted to do. And then the thing that we're doing is we're adding the function, the convenient function, such as we can get all the text, all the different things. So now I'm thinking capture text might be a little bit confusing because it will say all the things that has been captured, all the text chunks, which is not what it is. So a documentation will be needed there. And then I'm going to do a into text vector of new self content, and I'm going to do a content I'm going to follow the same pattern as this one. So that will return early if it's an option. And again, all these guys, we want to have options because if it wasn't captured, we want to return none. If it was captured, we want to return the things and what it was. And here right now, we're losing the information of which one we asked to capture, but that's fine. I think it's a very minor detail. And then we are going to, and if we need it, we can keep it, and we keep it in a flag somewhere in a private, and then that's fine. Now we want to capture content over there, and then content item things, and that will be a sum. Pretty good. So now if I go to the example here, which was awesome, kind of failed, but now if I did capture tool calls, captured into tool calls, boom. Yeah. So tool calls is a reference. Here you use clone. So we needed to have the thing, and then that's it. I don't know why you use. We don't need to capture it. Why will you need to do that? Yeah, don't need to use that. Capture tool calls. Up. And then that's it. I'm going to do that or capture. Okay, so that is pretty good. Interesting. I'm not sure who is using that. Ah, okay. No. I shouldn't call the staff here. No. I did wrong. You need to call it. This was a mute, so that's why. Yeah, my mistake. Because he runs it below after to check that we can continue the call. That was a PR that was sent. It was a good one. So I want to do the thing here like that. And if I do a CWE, which is cargo watch example, C10, tool use, streaming, pray. I'm going to ask you a little bit more about this one here. So Lumix, I'm not sure. Now all I need is multi-part for normal chat response. We do have, well, if you can specify a little bit what this is good. No example, that's fine, fair enough. C10 to use streaming. I should have a test. Testing streaming is always a little bit trickier. But this is pretty cool. And this is good stuff. And so I'm going to do a cargo test probably. See if things are, whoa. Okay, cargo build. Oh, there seems to be an error somewhere. Oh, okay, test here. Fair enough. We go there, F8. So I'm going to go there, and in my F8 over there, I have a Texas string, capture content, get option, capture content. Oh, I don't have that anymore. That's fair enough. So what I'm going to say is stream end, and I'm going to do a captured first text, which return an option of str, and then just to not change too much. I mean, actually, I could do that. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so why is it stream end dot captured first text? Okay, so why does he complain there? That's funny. Borrow. Okay, yeah, I think it's because I borrow it here. Oh, that's interesting. This is not capturing it. So this is a reference of self. So option of self, captured content. And then I do that again. So why I cannot do that? Because I have the capture content here. I printed here. Because of this. Yeah. So here I'm using the capture content, which I got from there. And then I had the thing there. So I don't know why this guy is still complaining. Oh, it's here again. Okay, so this is, no. Okay, I need to solve that now. No. Okay, so that doesn't make sense. Lumix, in the Gemini adapter, the Gemini is still an option of a single response. Oh, I'm going to check that. I thought I fixed it. Okay, I'm going to check that right now. I need to do that here because this is starting to annoy me. Bro, what is doing? Why? I mean, this is crazy. Bow partially moved stream end. Move occur because stream capture usage. Oh, capture usage. Oh, okay. I get it. Interesting. So we cannot call a function anymore because we broke, I don't say we broke, yeah, but we kind of damage our object because we did a capture usage. So if we were going to do something like that, I think, and this is probably the limit of my as ref. And then we say, okay, or usage. Okay, so I'm going to do that, something like that. And now that will work there. Because the problem is we were like taking the data out, and then you cannot call a function anymore because the object has been broken in a way. And so that is cool. And then we're going to do the feature. We're going to do that, and then that might be complain. Up. Okay. Now we're going to take this guy, and then this guy. And then this guy complained because we have the thing, so we're going to do a as ref to get the option, to get an option of string, yeah, which is good. So that's it. So that's pretty good. And we do a cargo test. Then we're going to see it works. Now, what you're telling me here is, and sometimes it fails because some AI kind of fakes fail in the time, but this is the tricky part. So now what you're saying is a Gemini response. Now all I need is multi-part thing, Gemini chat response. Okay, cool. Are you kidding me? I thought I fixed it yesterday. That's weird. I didn't fix that. Okay, I thought I fixed it. Well, the Cohere stuff, it's Cohere works in some of the time, but cargo test. So if I do a CWT test P Cohere test. We're going to do a test chat simple. Okay, so everything kind of fair on this guy. You can continue to use a trial key. Okay, it's a trial key issues here. It's stuff, so it's not an API problem. I'm going to do a test chat like that, and we change the stream. So here's a cool thing that I've done is if you go there, we're going to check the stream business, and that would be the prefix. So that is a way I like to test my stuff. I do that. A Cohere will not work because it thinks, but I can do Anthropic. Okay, very good. And then the Anthropic here, we shouldn't have changed too much stuff because we changed nothing, yeah? Oh, I just changed this guy. But that was just, okay, that's fine. I was just wanted to make sure that I didn't need to change other streamer. So everything works nicely. So git log. And now I'm not going to add that because we already had the multi-content support the way we were doing with 2 cores and stuff. What we're going to do here is more about the, so I'm going to do git commit, amend, because now I want to amend this guy. This was not the right way. I'm going to put exclamation mark, which is API change stream. So I'm going to say API change stream. And a stream, I'm going to say stream end. Now get core. Now all content tool calls, text and tool calls, content part of vect. That will be enough for me to yeah. So I'm going to put it. Oh no, please. This is where you can see that I'm not a BI guy. Git log and git amend. So that will collapse everything. So that is pretty good. I'm making sure that I don't have my debug print. Okay, I'm going to close everybody. I'm going to go there and I'm going to go. So that is pretty good. So we change the API. I'm going to have to say that we change the API and make a release of an alpha. And now what I'm going to do, Lumex, is fix your stuff, which is that guy. And that shouldn't be that. That should be that. Vect. This is what it should be. Now, these two guys complain. That's fair enough. And so after that, Lumix, you should be able to, I mean, that is as real time as we can get, yeah? We're going to the content list. Okay, I didn't do it. So to chat response. It's funny because we're capturing both. Are we capturing both? No, we're not capturing it both. Because that is where I return a Gemini chat response. It should complain here too, no? Yeah, content is complaining here. So now my content is, so it should be, my content should be, I'm going to pin this guy. I'm going to click on that guy to get content type. Okay. And now I'm going to go, this is the error, fix me, read multiparts. Oh yeah, this is why I didn't do it, because it's a little, yeah, that's your multipart business, yeah. So we're going to do parts. We're going to read the parts like that. And that will be the vect. So I'm going to assume here that is always the same thing. Multipart. And then over there, I'm going to put this one, which is let content. We're going to have mute content. Oh my God. And then we're going to do a vect new. Okay. And now we're going to do a for part in parts. And so that, I do again a command U, because that is where I have my inlays value. Okay, I'm happy about this. And I think okay. Take function call. Yeah. So that is what we're going to do. Yeah, we are putting it. The thing I'm saying is to say, okay, tool calls, I'm pushing it. I'm missing something here. What did we do when the content was not a function call? Oh, no. Error. Yeah, that's fine. So before we were part 0 and things, and then if it's not, okay. So I need to check here because there's something here. So before, what we were doing is we take the first part. And then when we had the first part, which is this guy, if he had the function call as a children, we were creating the function call. And if not, we were taking the text. So things are getting confusing here, but so here we don't need to do the multi-part to do that. Here we didn't read another part. We take either one or the other. So it's not clear if I should read multi-part or not. We're going to go a little bit flexible here. So we're going to do to the part. We have the part. And now, so that was our response over there. We're going to say something like that. Let sum. Yeah, I'm going to do it this way, and then Lumix, I'm going to do this way, and you tell me if it's okay. So I'm going to do a sum fn call value, okay, just to make it. This is going to be our part. And if we have that, we are going to do let tool call, and we're going to do that, correct? And there's something here that I'm missing. Tool call f, and this one will be that one. Okay, so now we have this, and we have our tool call over there. Okay, so that's good. And now what we want is in our Gemini chat content, we have those two goals. And you know what? I'm going to go crazy. Gemini chat stuff, request parts, chat content. And you know what? I'm going to go crazy and then nuke this one. And then, well, am I? No, I'm not, because no, I'm not. I'm going to keep this guy. And the reason why is because I can have multiple tool calls, and so I don't want. So I'm going to go back to my Gemini. Okay, part. I've lost the code. Where I was. Oh. What? I've lost where I was. Let mute content. Okay, so now we have this, we have the tool calls, and what we're going to do is add a part over there. So we're going to do a content push, and we're going to do that guy, tool call, tool call. That should work pretty nicely. If let some, yeah, so that should work pretty nicely. Why does this one? Okay, I'm going to do like something like that. Okay, if there's an error or whatever, we don't really care. And then we have this. Oh, sorry. We have that guy, and we do the tool call here. So that's good. So now we're building the tool call, and we're saying if it's the same part, we're going to be very permissive right now. If the same part there's X take of this, of text, then we're going to add it as well. And that will also go through all the parts. So now we're going to kind of really make sure that we capture everything, and then we'll see how it goes. So this is capture eventual function call. And now we're going to capture eventual text. Okay. And so what we're going to do is that guy. Okay, so that guy is quite elegant actually. Yeah, that's fine. So we do a let text. I'm going to do, this is a different style a little bit, but that's fine. Part. So that will be an option of test. And we're going to say, I don't know which one I prefer. If let sum, and we're going to do text. And then we're going to text content. And we're going to do a content push. And we're going to do that one. That's pretty cool. Okay, Lumix, I think it's going to be good. Kind of mute parts. What does it contain? Oh, mute. Can do a for mute. Can I do that? Yeah. And I take it because I don't want to clone string. I think it's better like this. We do even if here we're actually cloning it. That will be a nice thing here to not clone the text. Actually, I don't want to clone the text. Is a value stuff as I don't like that because here we're cloning text. I don't want to clone text. Here we're cloning as well. Are we cloning as get? Xget pointer or else. Yeah, we're cloning as well. Don't like it. So those guys is no big deal. There's a bug here, no? Oh no, they don't have call ID. Gemini doesn't have call ID. So how can I do that? So I have a MX that takes a value, so that's good. Okay, that's good. And then, so that will be a value, a hard value. And then can I do, how can I take a value into string? No, but it wouldn't work. If I wanted to, but it's not super elegant, but it's okay. I will have a V. I will do a match V. This is not, well, Clippy is going to complain. So I'm going to say if let sum, no, value string V of equal V, and then I'm going to return V. Else I return none. So I think that would be the way. No, sum. I think this probably be a better way. And in fact, yeah, that's okay. So now we have this, and then this one, we don't clone this one, because this one can be big again, so we don't really want to clone those. And then this guy is complaining over there because my content now is a vect of message content. So what I want to do is to take this vect and create a vector of a message content. So that's fine. So let content, and I'm going to say, where's my usage? Oh, okay. I have the content here. I'm going to call it, yeah, that's fine. Content, and then I'm going to say that, and I'm going to do a into iter, and I'm going to map it, and I'm going to take the value, which is going to be a Gemini kind of guy, and I'm going to, so that is where I should have a map from this guy, from that guy. But then this is bad because here I support only one vector, so that's not good. Okay, so I need to do more work. Yeah. Because I do more work. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to call it at Gemini content. So that is the stuff here, my vector of Gemini content. And again, because in my content, my message content, I have two calls, which is a vector of two calls. So I need to create that. So that's fine. So I'm going to do a let content, and it's going to be a vect. It's going to be a vector of message content, and it's going to be a mute. Annoying. No, because I need to concatenate all the time. I want to concatenate all of the tools. So I want to there's a little bit of asymmetry here that I'm not super happy about. So I want to let content into iter map. And so that I don't want that. I don't want that guy. This is how we need to have the vector of tool calls. So the thing I'm saying is to say, I'm going to have let tool calls vect tool call, and that will be vect new. And this will be mute. Yeah, that's fine. And then the rest here is going to become the message content. So I say let mute. And actually that is going to be an option. And because I'm lazy, this will be a default. So that should work. And now I have text content. And that will be actually I can just do that. Just do the thing here. So text content. So the reason why is because I need to go through my Gemini and then I need to go through all of this content here. So I'm going to do a if let so this is what I want to do, yeah. G item in that. So this is what I want. I want to go through all of these guys and then add it there. So if match G item, to do that right now. If it's text, then I'm going to push it to calls, push, no, not tool calls. That is the thing, yeah. If it's this guy, I'm going to put it, yeah, okay. The reason why I didn't want to put that message content. The reason why I didn't want to put that is because now tool calls is always going to be at the end, but that's fine. So we're going to do content, push, and then this one. We should have the from, but that's fine. That will compile nicely. Text. And then on this guy, when we have this guy, what we want is we do something like that. And then we have from tool calls. No, we have a push, just a push tool call actually. That should be nice. And that should compile actually. Yeah, we're like in a compile mode now because everything was nice. And so fix me need to take the content list. I take the tool calls over there. I have the content, the message content, the default. So I'm adding it to that. And at the end, we're going to do something like that. We say if so, that's why I didn't need is empty. would have been nice if they had, if not empty, but I don't think they are. What am I doing? If empty, if it's not empty, then we're going to call it, yeah? So we're going to do the things that we were doing there. We're going to say content push, and that will be our message content tool calls, and then tool calls. That's pretty cool. And that should capture everything. And Lumex, I'm going to let you test and you tell me, and then we'll see. I'm not sure we'll do a live about this. I think it's getting very deep here, so people are maybe a little bit too deep for lives. So now what we need is fix our streaming business here. So if we have a text content, so we did that, and now is this one, send chunk event. So that is our streamer. And I'm saying Gemini response. But now vector content is a vector of things. Yep. I don't like it. Yeah. So the trick here is that in stream, we don't have as much information as they're just streaming the events. Moreover, the way they're streaming is crazy. So they document the start here, that is a block, that's the document end. And then there's a comma somewhere. It's a crazy stuff. But it works, so I don't want to move it too much. So my problem here, Gemini response. Where does this guy come from? Trying to understand who is computing this guy. Oh, okay, there. This is a tricky one here. So I'm using the same guy. So I'm reusing this body chat response, which I think is the one that we changed. Yeah. Because that is the way they're doing it. They're giving us the whole part. The API is a little bit tricky. But now it's tricky because and then we have the capture here, which is crazy stuff. C. What is C? Capture data content. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I think I'm coming at with something. So here's a problem here. It's a little bit off. I was reusing this function because in Google Gemini protocol, they use the same kind of crazy stuff. So they have the same payload. So I said, well, we should reuse it. And now the problem is, it's not really the semantic here. This is really text business. It's not really, a vector of ChatGemini content here. So that's why it's a little bit confusing now, because what we want is to concatenate that into one text and one tool usage. Yeah, so this is a little bit a tricky one. So what we want is to say, hey, if we have some string, we do that logic and we push a string. And if we have a tool call, then we want to push the event. That is what we want to do. This one is going to be a little bit tricky, because the trick here, and I don't want to go too deep here, is that the way we send the tool chunk. However, in this case, we cannot send two events at the same time. So what we want is to say, if this guy has a multi-part on streaming, then, and there's a way I did it somewhere else, we want to keep, and on the next poll, it's getting complex here, we want to do another poll that will send the other events. Yeah. So we want to have a queue of events in a way. But right now, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to simplify it to the way it works, because it worked before, so it's going to be fine. And so we're going to assume that in the same chunk, so we're going to say here, not assume that in the same event, there is no text and tool call at the same time. So this is what we're going to do, okay? And we're going to understand why. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over the content. We're going to concatenate. We're going to go over the content. So let stream content and text content. And then what we're going to say, oh, that's cool. Oh, we don't have it there. We're going to say, if let if content, no. I'm going to do, so here's the things. We want to go through, if we really want to do robust code here, we could take the first text content, might probably work. But if we want to be relatively robust, we want to go through all of the text guys and concatenate them in a way. So what we want is text content. Yeah, we're going to do that. It's going to be not super elegant, but it's going to be good. And then when I do the tool calls, I send only one tool call. So that is a tricky one as well. Oh no, capture tool call. Yeah, tool call chunk. So we're going to do a new string, and that will be a string new. Okay. And then we're going to do a let mute stream tool call. And that would be an option of tool call. None. Okay. So we're going to support only one tool call per chunk right now. which I think is fine. If we wanted to make it more resilient, we'll need to support more. So then after, we're going to do something like that, which is going to be for content item content, okay? And that should be a Gemini chat content. And then we are going to do a match on that guy. And then that will give us two guys, okay? That will give us two guys. And that will be the text. And if it's a text here, and that could be an option, but we're going to do that. We're going to do things, and we're just going to push str string text, okay? And the reference doesn't need to own it. And then we have the tool calls. If we have a tool call, we're going to do a sum of tool call. And that's not what we want, obviously. We're going to do a stream tool call. This is a big one here. We're going to assume that there's stuff. So I don't like that. And in many ways, what I would prefer to do is we will keep it, and then in the stream, we will, that's why there's a streamer, specific for things, for pair adapters, because then in the stream, we could decouple this message, such as from an internal standpoint, we only, and then from a public stream, you always get the tool calls one at a time. And that will be good. And so now that we have done that, we have populated these two guys. No, it's actually assume that only one tool call and stuff, and then warning, another warning. Assume only text or tool call, not both on the same event. Okay, so that is what we're assuming. Not very happy about this, but otherwise it gets pretty complex, and everything is working fine. So I think it's fine, but if we want to add more resiliency, we will make sure that we support more. So now we're going to do send a chunk, send the event, and that is where if that is where I could say if that also means that we're going to miss if there were a chunk that was empty string, which is fine. Is empty because we're going to do that. So if the string is not empty, that is compute text tool call. Okay, so send the event. So if the thing is not empty, then we're going to do that logic. We need to make sure to make that because we don't want to include a new bug, yeah? So we capture the things here. So stream text content. We're capturing it, and then we are doing that. So we are doing a push C. We're taking the mute C of the capture content, okay? And then we're pushing it back. Okay, that's good. And if there is nothing, if we are not capturing it, oh, no. If we are capturing it, but there is no content, we're creating the sum. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that makes sense. Capture the content if there is a flag. And then all events are accumulating usage. Yeah, so there's a whole different thing there. And then we're going to return that. So that's good. And it's breaking right now, but it's normal. And then we're going to do a if error, if, and then we're going to do this guy. And then we're going to make sure we have that at the end. That is a flow we don't want to break. So we're going to do a else if let sum. And now we're going to go to our tool calls. Tool call. And then if we have tool, and that is where we have this over there. And we're going to put, people are still there, and you guys are amazing. That. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So if we have stuff and then we're else, we continue. Continue means, we go to the next stream. That is as advanced as it can get. I mean, this one is tricky because it's something that would get called by the async stuff. So you have it's a future stream and then things, and then you have the poll next, and that is what allows you to do the next business using async. So it's cool, but it's a little bit on the heavy side. Okay, so I think this is pretty good. So I hope the reason why I complain everywhere is because I have the things below. Yep. That is just a content here, which is, I think, is text. Okay, this is why I did the clone here because we're sending it there. So that is actually pretty cool. So that was long, but that was good. This guy here, what does he doesn't like here? That's his clippy, matching sum, okay, is redundant. That's fair. So you say, hey, what do you match? What do you say okay and sum? And if I do like that, it will do okay. Because that is putting an error as an option. And then I do a sum. But you say, hey, why you don't just do a okay? It's the only thing you care, which is fair. That's a good fix. And then that's it. So let's see if it works. Test, we're going to do test over there. Gemini. That was kind of deep. You guys are kind of amazing to follow these kind of things. I'm going to try to make it some live stream more. Oh, look at that. Everything is working nicely. So Lumix, I'm going to commit this one. I'm going to push it. So I'm going to merge it like right now. Git log, git seed. That is a fix that Gemini fix trimming multi-parts. It's multi-content, I will say. Multi-part is something, yeah. Okay, and then Git log, I'm going to check that. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to test. So the problem with my test strategy here, so it's cool because I can test by providers, but sometimes Cohere is complaining and then, so usually at least what I do is 3 big guys before pushing. Yeah? When I do a release, I really do everything. But sometimes, once in a while, once will fail for whatever reason, and then it will pass. So it's kind of a little bit, sometimes you have to be a little bit more flexible. So Gemini and then Anthropic. Make sure that we didn't test and break anything. Now, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a big note over there. I already put some notes on the v4, upcoming branch, API change. That is what we did before. And now the event guy, the end event change as well. So I'm going to add that. I don't want to bug you with that. And that is pretty cool. So good enough. And making sure that I have nothing. Main git merge. That git log. This git push ranges, and you should have it. Yeah. So that's it. So we added. Oh wow! What did I do? Why did it even work? What happened? Is it oh no. Oh cool. That scares me a little bit. It was a VS Code bug. Hopefully. Gemini. Yeah, it was a VS Code, got confused. Oh no. Oh yeah, this is one of the things. Oh no, please. Yeah, this is the thing with AI and testing. It's a little bit tricky here. So it works now. It didn't work before. So I'm going to test it again, but it works pretty nicely. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I think we're going to end today. It's pretty good. Git log. That was a very deep thing. I'm pretty impressed that people stayed here for that long. And but we did something I wanted to do. I hope Lumix that will fix your issues. If you have another things, always log bugs or whatever. And yeah, the GenAI is pretty good. Also, give a try to AI Pack. It's a very interesting way of doing. It's 15 megabytes, and you can have your custom agent, and you have pro coder kind of things. So, for example, if I wanted, I'm going to add the keys here. If I wanted to say, hey, I want to update the doc of this guy, like we're going to go to, which guy are we going to go? Where do we have the end event, yeah? Stream end, okay? So I want to add documentation on the stream end here. And I want to add documentation there. What I will do, oh, wow, that was fast testing. Awesome. This is live. We're only 6 here, but we are the best 6 on the planet. So the thing I'm saying is, one thing I will do to add this, and I haven't used a lot AI, but I will do that in this lot AI in this coding session. But usually I use it quite a bit. But in this one, I really wanted to make the call myself. But now I want to add documentation of this. So I will do, so usually I have a pro coder here. So I'm going to actually delete that. It was a while. I'm going to do AI pack. So when you install, you have AI pack, do install, pro add coder, and then that will install pro coder. Is 11 kilobytes. It's pretty amazing. And then you do run, and then it has this parametric prompt kind of business. What you put above, oh, that's interesting. That's another bug of what you put above the 2ml here. So the folding is breaking it a bit. What you put above the 2ml, above the / is a prompt. That is a parametric prompt. And so what we're going to do here is I like to have my ProRest 10x coder best practices, base dir. We are in Rust, not Node.js. And then I want to have the chat stream, yes? Put it there, shift to put the relative path. So that is the context globes over there. It's pretty advanced. You can have working globes and all these kind of things. You can actually give the whole structure, doesn't really need it, but sometimes you need it in the prompt, but not the content of the files. This will have the content of the files. And so you do that, and then you are going, this is a mapping here that I'm giving you for now. You can have also the mapping on the back. I'm going to use gpro, which is going to be that one. But the mapping in the back, I was saying you have .ai pack -base in your home config2ml. There's some mapping there. Or you can put the name directly. I have all of my keys everywhere. I should have. So I do AI pack, check keys. I got all my keys because I work with all these guys. And then I'm going to run it again. It's going to do nothing because there's no prompt. But now, here it is. I'm going to say, can you add comments in the chat stream for all of the captured function. Also, make sure it is clear that it is not the chunk text, but also for the captured text business, because the word text and with chunk and stuff, make sure it is clear that it's not the chunk text, but the concatenated text of chunk text. Okay, so the good thing is that doesn't need to be English. Press R, Command R, which is wire to R over there, and then that will go. And I just put this one file there. So now, usually I pin this guy over there, have it on the left. Sometimes Gemini is a little bit faster here, but. And AI pack is using GenAI, obviously. So everything is stuff. Hey, Riker. I don't know why that is so slow. Shouldn't be, because the context is not that bad. There's a little bit here, and then the files here, but chat stream should be pretty okay. Google is being slow today. So one thing you can do, that's funny. Yesterday was OpenAI. Okay, so we're going to do it with light. So now it might do a weirdo result. Boom. Light is super fast. Oh, I have a write mode false. Make sure you have your write mode true, but you don't have to restart it. we can just press replay. So when you have write mode false, you will see all the code here. Otherwise, it will write the code there. Now, light is super fast. Love light. So it's a flash 225 light. Sometimes it might not do what we want, but sometimes it might. So what I do is I go there and I see what he had changed. Change that guy. I didn't want to add comment into the code. Return a reference of the first captured text. This is actually pretty good. Consume. This is actually, so let me check there. We're going to check here. We can see it. It added this code, added that, good. Added this one. This is a concatenation of voltage chunk received as a stream. So far, so good. This one is good. This one is good. Cool. This is good. This is actually very good. Okay. So usually what I do, and so what I see here is to make sure sometimes I have not with a big uppercase and sometimes lower uppercase. The AI probably say, well, perhaps the guy wanted to say big notes and small notes. So I don't know. So I will ask AI to fix that. I'm going to add this one. I'm not very consistent with all these kind of things, but that is a pretty good one. And in fact, here's the thing that I would do. If I were alone, I would do something like that. First, I would do like that, git log, git c, a doc, minor add on chat stream response. Okay. And now what I have, I will say, well, I have the chat response as well. And I don't have those kind of things there. So I will go back. So here's the thing. Here's the crazy stuff. 4 seconds because it's light. 10,000 token. It was cached because we made, I think, multiple requests. And 0.1 cents. Yeah, so I'm giving you everything here on the stuff. And Procoder is an AI pack. It's an AI pack which run on AI pack. So AI pack doesn't know about coding. So it's a very unique and very powerful way. But now what I'm going to say is, hey, you know what? My chat response is not very well documented. Yeah, so I will take that, shift, drop. This is VS Code, nothing to do with AI pack. And then you do a chat stream, a chat response, and then we're going to say, so always make sure that everything is committed. You don't want anything non-committed over there when you use AI. Whatever AI you use, cursor, whatever. This stuff of having the AI client telling you the change and stuff, I don't know why they do that. Git commit is awesome. Use it. This is your base. Don't trust anything else. So, I mean, that is at least the way I do it. And then what I will do is say, okay, we added the comment and capture, and light was pretty good. I was pretty impressed with the quality of light. And light is so fast, it changed the whole perception of what AI is. But now I want to change the response as well. You see, I don't have these kind of things. And then, can you update the comment in the chat response? Riker, when you say I'm new to this, so where do I begin? Do you mean new to Rust or new to AI pack? So let me know. And then can you update this comment in the chat response? .rs. The function comments in the staff response. Okay? Here, do not need to precise that it is concatenated because it's obvious in this context. And that, I'm going to put that to make sure that he knows. So I'm going to do that. And here I'm being brave here. I'm using Flashlight, which is, again, it's free. It's virtually free. Yeah, this guy is free. If you want a free AI, don't run on your local, I would say. run stuff. It's free and it will be much faster than whatever you can run on your local. So, and local is cool, yeah. AI Pack and GenAI support Olama, and I have Olama just there, yeah. So I'm all Olama guy, but I use those guys for things. This was so fast, it's crazy fast. And then here it is, yeah, 2 seconds. 12,000 token, completion token, guy, and then let's see what he added. My chat response, he added this guy, return the reference of the first content is variable. That's so good. Consume the chat response and stuff. That's very good. Look at that. That will look smart, actually. This is cool. So I go back here, git log, make sure that that is not pushed to origins, like some king says. And then we have origin main. So that is this one. So this one, we can amend it. We're not going to do 2 guys, git amend. And this is an alias that I have for git commit amend dash, and to just amend it, collapse it with the one behind. And then that's it. Rust. Where do you start? That is a good question. I'm going to push it here. So my stream, this kind of streams, and this way today here, and I've seen it here, kind of, but it went very complex in a way. So people that, stay along was pretty good. And it was very deep into this crate. So those are a little bit advanced. And I'm going to try to do, I'm answering your question here. I'm going to try to, in my stream, trying to do the thing here. In my stream, I'm going to try to put somewhere, say, beginner, intermediate, advanced, like 3 kind of things, yeah, beginner, intermediate, advanced, yeah. And such as people can join and I can make, content perhaps for different kind of level, kind of things. In this one, because we are very deep, it was relatively advanced, but where you will start, I will start with the Rust book. Yeah, this is where I will start, Lang. And they have the book here, Learn. And I will start with the book. Yeah. So that is I will do. What I've done to learn Rust is I read the first 6 one. And then after I read the thing as needed. I didn't want too crazy because otherwise you get very demotivated. Then there's many resources. There's Let's Get Rusted, which is good. There's my videos. Obviously, I'm biased here. And then there's quite a bit of videos. So that is Rust 10x. It's kind of a site that I have, but I have them on my YouTube. There's few videos here that I think are worth watching. This one is a 5-step to learn. This one is a good one to start because I'm showing you how I've learned it. And there's a cool way to do with Cargo Watch, install P, and so on. It's awesome. Then I have these best practices here. So you need to be familiar with the code first, yeah, but those are pretty good. And then back in the days when I was very young, I had some Rust by the book. I started it was good, but I didn't know if it was going to pick up or not. So there might be some tutorial there that you can see, but this one, the 9 Rust best practices is good. Then this 5 steps to learn is good. And then I have the big ones here, which is, but those are huge ones. The Rust web app coding is 3 hours. That is like some course. I need to redo this one. So those could be a good ones to start with. Or Let's Get Rusty as well. My recommendation is when you learn Rust is go with a book a little bit, play stuff, and then make your own command line. Yeah, you want to play with your own command line for a while. You make a little one. I made a little silly stuff. Yeah, I have a diff. Yeah, and I publish it and stuff. And so diff goes to all of the things and tell me, how big my directory is, how many files, how big it is, and then it gives me, the top 5 biggest size by extensions, and then by files. And then if I want more, I can do a -n10, so that will give me a 1010, so 10 biggest files, 10 biggest extension, I think, and then I can see what I have in my directory. Then I can say, well, I just want the summary of it, and that gives me the summary of the disk. So by doing that, you learn. Yeah, I'm not even pushing it. It just happened that I put it on Crate, so you can install it, but actually recreate it. Don't even use this guy. Yeah, create your own little utilities, whatever utilities you want. That is relatively simple. Don't delete files and create files at first. Here, just read. There's no delete or stuff. You don't want to start deleting files. And so that is my recommendation. And one of the trick here, diff. If you go to Rust diff, this is my thing, is actually git log. I think I pushed it, yeah. And so I need to do a new release with this version. But this one is not something I'm expecting people to use, but it's just for me. And it's very simple. Yeah? If we go and look at the code, is Toki, is just Toki. It's not even 1,000 lines of code. It's nothing. But it allows me to do all these kind of little commands here. And I've learned it, and you learn a lot. So my recommendation is read the 6, play with the examples, whatever they give you, and then create your own examples and do a cargo watch. So that is what I would do. Okay, hey from Indonesia, BGCA, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to try to do more kind of live also, not only about this deep coding kind of things, but more about my text about things. Like, for example, vibe coding and all these kind of things. So I'm going to try to find a way to do that. The thing I like about vibe is I don't spend too much time about editing. I just do it, and then I go with it. The trick is that there's less views because it works, but it might be okay too. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And then I think we're going to close the stream. I'm going to wait for 2 minutes for questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask again. And if you see one, answer, because there's a little delay with YouTube. So if you see one question, feel free to ask just after if you have one, such as I can queue them, because otherwise, I don't know. So, okay. So that was a pretty long stream, but basically what we did in this stream is pretty cool stuff. And then Lumex told us that it works now over there. And then over there, can we go? It works. Nice. And so what we added is in the GenAI crate, which is a crate that talks to many AI providers, Anthropic, OpenAI and stuff, and many of them in a native protocol, we added the multi-content kind of thing, such as when the provider reply with a message as well as a tool call, we get both in the APIs. Before it was one or the other, and now thanks to Lumex that kind of log a ticket, we have implemented that in the two on this live and the live of yesterday that you can find as well. Okay, hope you liked it, and until next one, happy coding.